Hey there, Lord of the Rings SPG gamers. This is Powers. I haven't been with you in a while. Here's my segment, Forays in Middle-earth. This will be episode 11. And I'm coming to you after many, many moons of no content, no hobby time. I moved into a new house, and my hobby stuff stayed in the back room of the garage until a couple days ago. I think it was Saturday. And today is the 30th of August, which means I'm going to Nova in 2 days. I'm driving to, today's Wednesday. I'm actually leaving tomorrow night to go up to Derek's house, and we're leaving the next day, Friday morning, to try to get to DC in time for doubles on Friday afternoon. Cool story. I haven't I haven't made any lists or gotten out any of my stuff yet, so I'm gonna do that. Document a little bit of that over the next day or two. I'm kind of slammed at work, so it's going to be interesting trying to squeeze it in. So hopefully I can get something worthy of watching in that time. I take it back. I did do a little list hashing with some guys on Facebook Messenger the other night. And I think I have a pretty solid idea of what I'm taking. Still haven't talked to Dan. I think Dan's going to be my doubles partner. Haven't talked to him about what we're doing other than in passing. I think we're going to do... Well, I don't want to reveal it, but something that I already have that's painted. I originally had plans to do. I think my dwarf force was maybe going to be part of a Nova army. I was maybe going to use Rohan for doubles, but that's all changed because I've been so incredibly busy with life and all that kind of stuff. I go through phases of hobbying, so I'll go for months without doing anything and then get really back into it. I think Nova is going to be pretty inspiring. So I'll shut up now. I'm going to get out some of my models, and then I will be back to kind of talk about what I plan on taking. Hopefully part of this video will be some travel vlog type stuff with Derek in the car. It's a pretty long drive. I think it's probably, from where he lives, probably 6 hours or so, maybe 7. So we'll have lots of time to talk about Lord of the Rings. But in the meantime, keep watching, and hopefully we got some good content for you. Hey there, Lord of the Rings SPG gamers. I'm back with the next section of this video. So last night, I went through all my stuff, put together my army list, which Derek and Nick helped me make. Made sure I have everything I need. I'm going to have to borrow a few things from Derek and Nick, or Derek, I guess, to round out the army. He's loaning me... I'm going to go through the army list in a minute, and I'll tell you about that. But... it's all sitting here behind me. I'm bringing a bunch of extra stuff. I don't have a doubles partner yet, so I'm going to show up and get matched with somebody. So I have a Gondor army I was going to take last year before I had to cancel. Since the comp hasn't changed, it's 400 points per partner in a doubles team. And so I'm just taking the same army because it's a pretty solid little Gondor horde army. It's like 34 models, I think, at 400 points, which is pretty solid. I'm also taking... I have Isengard in there. I have a bunch of orcs. So I have a little flexibility. If I get stuck with a player who, their army wouldn't go well with Gondor, I can throw something together really quick. Potentially. I'm not sure I'll have the time for that tomorrow. But I'll go through all that stuff in a minute. But so plan is, tonight I'm driving up to Derek's kind of late. I have an event for my son's school. Driving up to Derek's somewhat late. It's about 50 minutes away, I think. Spending the night, getting up the crack of dawn. We're trying to be on the road before 7 a.m. And we're going to talk tactics. Probably take a couple clips on the road. He's going to give me some tips on how to use parts of my army that I'm unfamiliar with. We should get there. I think the first round of doubles starts at 2:30. Up in Arlington. So looking forward to the road trip. Road trips are a lot of fun. I'm going to have a little notebook taking notes like a big nerd. So I'm going to go through this stuff. First is the 3 Hobbit motion picture soundtrack special editions. They have little booklets in them. I've actually never looked at the booklets, but because I don't care about how the music was made that much beyond a passing interest. Gonna bring those to the car so we have some nice background music. Box of Morannons with a Wraith in there. I guess let's talk about my army. You guys aren't going to see this until well after Nova, so I'm not giving away any surprises. Let me pull it up here really quick. I'm playing a pure Mordor force. I believe there's bonus or something for having a single faction force. Warband 1, Cave Drake. That's one of the things Derek's going to loan me. I've never taken a really big monster like that, but I've always loved the Cave Drake. The model is amazing, first of all. Second of all, the rules are really good. It ignores difficult terrain. It has the Gaping Maw, brutal power attack, which allows you to, which I just learned that was a brutal power attack, and they FAQ'd it. If you wound a multi-wound model, it's removed from, and they don't save the wound or anything, then they're just removed, so you can like chomp down on a hero if you're lucky. He's also got like defense 7 and 6 wounds, so he's really hard to kill. So he's gonna be my general. And he can't be. If you trap him and don't kill him, he deals a strength 4 hit to every model within 1 inch. If you, I don't even remember all the rules. I kind of want to pull it up now. Well, I don't know where the thing is. Anyways, good, really good, solid model. Also, along with that is a Mordor Troll Chieftain. And those two large models are going to be used to kind of anchor the flanks. They have the big bases, and they're going to draw a lot of heat, but they can take it. That's going to help mitigate the lower numbers I have in this army. So in Warband 2, it's the Mordor Troll Chieftain. That's one I'm borrowing from Derek as well. Thanks, Derek. 5 orcs with spear and 6 Morannons with shield. Warband 3 is a Wraith, 2 might, 10 will, 1 fate. 4 orcs with spear, 2 Morannons with spear and shield, and 4 Morannons with shield. And then Warband 4, Gorbag with shield, 4 orc trackers on wargs, and 6 Mordor Uruk-hai with shield. So kind of the idea is to have a shield wall of Morannons with spear orcs behind, and Mordor Uruk-hai to fill in gaps, because they can't really take the heat from shooting, so I'm going to keep them behind. The Wraith is there as a utility, to counter casting and to shut down enemy heroes and monsters through transfix or what have you, as well as the I'm relying on the Standfast from the Courage 6 of the Wraith for the army, and also Will of Evil or Harbinger of Evil to make it harder for people to charge the monsters, the Cave Drake and the Troll Chieftain. So it's a pretty solid army. I like it. I like having the orc trackers. There's only 4 of them, but they, they're fast. They can be used to bother people. And you can't ignore mountain models when they start to flank you. I mean, you can if you want, but usually you have to pay some attention to them and either turn your flank, which can disrupt enemy movement, or you have to spend time shooting at them or something. So, and they're dirt cheap. And the really cool thing about that is they gain the I guess they gain the warg's defense in combat, not necessarily in. No, it's not defense. They gain the strength in combat, so they're a strength 4 orc if they happen to charge, which I probably won't do. But they also have the higher shoot value, so they can be used to take pot shots at heroes and that sort of thing. Let's go sit on an objective. They're orcs, so that's not a great idea. But let's see what else about it. I'm gonna have to borrow a couple Morannons. I don't have quite enough. I'll show you those. I really like the Morannons. I've gone over them in a previous episode. The models are beautiful. I used to hate these models until I actually painted them. They're a lot of fun to paint, and I love that they're larger than regular orcs. There's the Wraith I'm going to take. It's just a vanilla Wraith. Let's see. I'm not going to get out my whole army. It's orcs. I don't have the cool stuff. I don't have the Drake and the Chieftain. Derek has those. So the doubles list I'm taking. Gondor doubles. It is Faramir with shield and heavy armor in Warband 1. Then 5 warriors of, Minas Tirith with shield, backed up by 5 warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield. Warband 2 is Damrod with 11 Rangers of Gondor. And the army only has 34 models, but I'm allowed to take up to 12 12 with bow because of the way the rounding works. But I only took 11 soldiers with bows. Then Warband 3 is Baragond with 6 Fountain Court with shield and 4 more Warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield. I played this last year when I was going to go. I was going to do doubles with Derek. He was going to take a Fiefdom's army, which was a really cool army. It was a small core of Warriors of the Dead, which were going to form the center of the line because they're really high defense. They're defense 8. And then I was going to back those up with... he was going to back some of them up with Axemen of Lasarnak for the spear support. And I was also going to have some of my spear guys mixed in there along with the Fountain Court. So there's a really solid line. Because, I mean, Fountain Court with shield are defense 7. The Warriors of the Dead with shield are defense 8. And then have all those spears backing it up, along with the really good shooting from the Rangers of Gondor. 11 Rangers of Gondor is a lot of 3-up shooting. It's hard to ignore. Along with Baragon and Damrod. So we play tested that army last year, did really well. Unfortunately, I don't have a partner this year, so hopefully I get stuck with somebody with something complementary. I'm also bringing all my Knights of Minas Tirith, so if I'm with somebody and they want me to take all cavalry, I can do that. So I can take 15 Knights and Faramir mounted and a Banner guy mounted. So, I have a lot of options if I need to switch this up really quick, but this is just a list I already had made and typed up, so I'm just taking that. And it's a solid little horde army. Faramir is a nice mid-level hero. He's if it was just a 400-point game, he'd be really good. But in a doubles match, he holds his own. Let's see. What else do I have? I'm doing doubles tomorrow. Saturday, Sunday is GT. Hopefully I have time to walk around the hall. I'd like to see some of the other stuff. There's a lot of people I'm going to know that are going to be there. A lot of the local Charlotte guys are going to be there in the Sigmar and 40K events. I just found out my brother-in-law's family is going to be there for some reason. So I'm really excited about it. I've been trying to get to Nova for 2 years now. Finally getting to go. So I'll come back probably tomorrow in the car with Derek. Maybe tonight, depending on if we're going to hang out and do stuff tonight. It's going to be kind of late, so maybe not. But I'm also excited to meet everybody. All the all the SPG celebrities. I know Jin Singh, I just commented on his Facebook post. He's coming across the continent from Western Canada. Meeting some of the Ontario guys. Some of the British guys are going to be there. Dan Entwistle, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be awesome. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, I think. All right, bye. Hey there, Lord of the Rings SPG gamers. This is Powers. I'm in the car driving to Derek's. It's pretty late. It's 11:30. I thought I was going to get out of the house a lot earlier, but here I am, still driving. Be there in about 20 minutes, I think. Got the car packed. Packed pretty light, so hopefully it'll be a pretty uneventful trip tomorrow, and we'll be back with some good tactics talk in the car, things like that. And I was thinking this is actually my first, with the exception of Games Day. I went to 2 Games Days back 2005 and 6, I think, or 2004 and 5. I don't really remember. The first one was the year Sisters of Battle came out, and the other one was the one the next year. I think it was when Battle for Macragge came out, because they had a big Tyranid versus Ultramarine big game. That was my last big convention. I've never been to Dragon Con or anything like that. My brother always tries to get me to go to Gen Con. He was just there a couple weeks ago. But this is my first big convention. I'm excited about it. Really excited for the tournament. As I say all the time, I'm not a very competitive player, but I'm excited to just meet all the people that I know online from across the world. But I'm gonna get off the phone before I crash them on this backcountry road, trying to find Derek's house. And just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the trip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Met Derek. It's 7 in the morning. We're getting ready to hit the road. I sitting in the car waiting on him. He's inside, getting some last minute stuff. It's raining, unfortunately. We're getting the tails of the big storm down that came out of the Gulf, Harvey. Probably just some rain spent off from that. But it's real early. I haven't had anything to eat or drink or coffee, so probably gonna film for a little while until I've had that. But we're about to hit the road. We're coming to Nova. I got my Gandalf shirt on, and we'll be there shortly. Eric, he just told me about a really dirty army he came up with.
Yeah.
Now he's going to tell you, don't copy this, because we'll know. Because I've never heard anything this dirty before.
Don't play this against me, please.
Don't wreck the car.
Don't do that. Alright, so basically, it's a gimmicky list. It's basically just like the Moomok challenge. So you take a Moomok from the Farad list, you give it the Mahud Beastmaster upgrade, you give it the Rocks upgrade, and the Tusk weapons. Then you put on it the Beastmaster, 11 Watchers of Karna, 6 with bow, 1 Warrior of Abrakan with a Warhorn. And then your last model is the Witch King of Ingmar, Fellbeast, Crown of Morgul, 3 Might, the 10 Extra Will, and the 3 Fate. It should come out to exactly 700 points. So the idea is basically you have a Moomok who has 3 Might instead of 2 for a regular chieftain. The Beastmaster is now current 6 with the Warhorn, making it really unlikely that it'll run. It's also got the, I think, like 2 or 3 points of will, so a little bit more resistant to magic. The Watchers are resistant to magic, so they can't be blasted off or things like that. The Rocks are strength 6 hits. The Watchers have 3+ shoot values. The way the Harad list is written, the poison applies to the Rocks, because it just says all models of this rule reroll 1s when like rolling to wound, shooting or something. So it applies to Rocks, if you read it that way. So at range you have 6 bow shots. When they get within 8 inches, you've got 12 strength 6 shots. You've got high courage, so even if the
hitting on 3s, strength 6 hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s,
and that 1 random warrior with 4s. The Witch King just kind of flies around, and if anything comes up to base it, 1 lone model, black dart it, Moomok can move again. The Witch King can also go and deal with side threats. It doesn't ever want to be too close to the Moomok though, in case it does stampede. You really don't want it running over the Witch King. It's a fun list to play. It's really fun.
Shame.
Super hard to break.
That's a gunboat. That's the gunboat Moomakill. So
yeah, it's a fun challenge. To make it work though, you really have to play something like Lords of Battle in a pretty terrain, like void of terrain, just a few trees and scrubs. But it's a fun challenge to try to beat it with another 700 point list. It's a good time.
Well, my mama raised me right not to play games that way. We're driving up to Nova. We'll be there in an hour for doubles.
I kind of want to play that now.
Alright, we're signing out. Hey there, Lord of the Rings SPG gamers. This is Powers, back with the next step of the Journey vlog, which, if this has been put in order, you'll realize I didn't really film anything. I did take quite a few stills. I might try to have the guys include when they put the video together. But I am home from Nova. I didn't end up filming as much as I would have liked. I realized, A, that's incredibly difficult. So kudos to those YouTubers who are able to film and be in the moment at the same time. I didn't want to pull out my camera a lot of the times because I wanted to, enjoy the people I was with and carry on conversations. And B, I also didn't really have a lot of time because, between games you only have about 15 minutes, and most of that time is devoted to taking care of, like, myself, going to the bathroom, getting food. B, when we were done with games, we were too exhausted to really do anything other than hang out and drink. So I'll just give you a rundown of the weekend. First of all, it was awesome. Devin, great job. It was a really good time. I'm really disappointed I didn't get to come last year because now I know what I missed, but I got to come this year. and I'm going to try my very best to come next year. It was an amazing event. It was my first tournament for really any game other than, well, I played some 40K tournaments casually, but those were at a store and totally different than a convention. Got to meet some really cool people. A lot of people I've been talking to on the internet for a really long time, Devin included. And got to meet, Dave Nolan, Adam Troke, the Irish guys, Dave Murphy, Gary Doyle, Luke O'Reilly. I guess Dave's an Irish guy too. Jin Singh, who is an absolute madman. Thanks for the shot, by the way. And I got to play some really good games. I didn't do great. Well, I'll just give you a rundown on the weekend. So Derek and I left Friday morning at the crack of dawn, about 7:15. We hit the road. We made it to doubles. Thankfully, we didn't hit any traffic. It could have been, heading up 95 on a holiday weekend can be pretty gnarly. We didn't hit any traffic. We got to the hotel with about 25 minutes to spare. So we had to park the car, pull our armies out, run inside. Nick Cottle actually, he talked to the valet was full, but Nick went and talked to the valet guy, and I had to pay him. I had to grease the palms a little bit. And thankfully he parked our car for us, so we didn't have to deal with that. Grabbed our armies, ran inside, got our badges. We were both prepaid, so that was good. Derek and I. And we ran downstairs. I walked in the room. Devin said, "Are you Powers?" And I said, "Yes." And I had a doubles partner. I was partnered with Seth Hinder. And I was playing my Horde Gondor, and he had a small Rohan army. Erkenbrand, Knight of the Pelennor, some riders, some guys on foot. He was a great guy. He's from Maryland, I think. But he's one of the local DCHL guys. But he was a great partner. He was, he was good at the game, but not too serious. Doubles isn't as competitive, but also I'm not a very competitive player. I'm there to have fun. And so is he. We had some really good games. First one was against Antonio Russo from Canada, playing. We started to play, and Devin came over, and Seth had paid for the event. I had not. And someone had dropped out. Excuse me. And we almost didn't get to play till the last minute. Antonio Russo stepped in by himself, and he just played two armies, basically. He paid an 800 per army, But he had Angmar. And, sorry, 1 second. I'm just waking up, and I have a little bit of concrete. He played Angmar. We had a great game. He had 4 trolls and Birder and a Shade and the Dwemer Lake and a bunch of orcs. And the trolls put a whooping on the Gondor guys, just tossing them around. It was a weird deployment, so Seth came on kind of far back on the flank, but it took him a while to get into combat, and by the time he did, Antonio had been able to line up his battle lines such that the trolls put a hurting on, Knight of the Pelennor and killed Erkenbrand, I believe, and it wasn't a terrible loss. I think it was, maybe it was. I don't really remember the scores, but second game was against Jeremy Smith and his wife Patty. Jeremy's a lovely opponent. He was playing Flying Circus, which is not a very fun army to play against. So I did not like that game as much, but the opponent was wonderful. Game itself wasn't super happy with. It was just kind of a slow slog. And it came down to we won by it was 3-1 victory points or something silly. It was low. No, neither of us really killed anything. They killed 8 of our guys. I think we killed a fell beast maybe, but we did some wounds to some stuff. I don't know. Anyways, that one was a bit of a slog. Then the third game was actually my favorite game of the doubles event, against Samir and Alex Kinney from West Coast Hobbits. They were playing a Dwarf Elf Alliance, and we got to play on the beautiful, beautiful Iron Hills board that Devin made, which is based on the Iron Hills as they're shown in one of the video games, I think. And that was just an awesome game. Both really engaging, fun opponents. They were there to have fun. Samir had some Galadrim Court and Rumel, and then Alex had Durance Folk dwarves. and I think it was an objective game. I don't recall. Anyways, we it was just a nice straight up fight. There's lots of stuff killed, lots of fun things happened. I used at one point Baragon and Damrod each have 1 point of might. They shot at Rumel, who was hiding in the elf line, like behind like 2 other people. They both hit, got past the first 2 in the ways. Needed a 6 to wound. Both times rolled a 5 with each one of them and mighted it up. So I think it was a good use of their those models. That's kind of what they're for. So they're 45 points to Rumel's like 70 something. So they killed him, which was nice. Unfortunately, we had not chosen him as the general, but that's okay. And then, so that was it for doubles. And then we were really exhausted. It was really late. So we went out to Buffalo Wild Wings, got some food, came back, checked out the hospitality lounge on the 18th floor, which was, there's this stereotype of gamers that they're a little musty, if you will. And when you cram, upwards of 100 of them into a hotel room, that stereotype is very, very accurate. So we didn't spend a very long time there. It was also just really crowded, and I had a beer and talked to Devin and that's when I met the 3 Irish fellows, well 4 if you count Dave, and let's see. Then we eventually crashed we went down to the hall to help Devin rearrange some chairs, and then we crashed around 2, I think. A bit late, but that's about when I usually go to bed anyways, so it wasn't too bad for me. 1 second. And let's see. So we went to bed, got up, ran to McDonald's in the rain, got wet, but we had time to eat, and came back and grabbed our armies and headed down. And we got our matchups, and I'm totally blanking on who my first opponent was. Oh yeah, it was first we had the Adam Church Seminar, which was I was a little bit late, but I walked in. I felt like I was late to like a college class because we were in like a small like auditorium type thing. But no one shamed me, and it was really cool to see him speak. He's a really engaging speaker. You've probably all heard this before. He has an incredible passion for the game, and you can like hear him get emotional at certain times when he's talking about how he was introduced to Lord of the Rings, and just talking about the game itself. And he's very diplomatic in how he answers questions. There's a lot of people asking questions like, "Oh, how are you going to fix X, Y, Z?" Like, sort of almost opinion questions. I got to ask a question. I asked him what his design process was around contentious things like fell beasts and magic and stuff like that. We didn't get any really solid. There was no new information that probably hasn't been told yet before, especially since their Articon was so recent. I think he did one there too. But we saw Hilda Bianca and Percy. We saw a picture of those models. He gave us a nice teaser of what they're going to do with Lord of the Rings. It's going to be Pelennor Fields. They showed a picture of like the Rohirrim cresting the hill, the sun behind them. He said Theoden is going to have the willpower to deal with magical threats. And those were his exact words. Let's see, anything else? The Battle Company supplement, which I believe has already been teased, is the cool thing about that is it's going to have these mini campaigns, and the first one will be a campaign to go from where basically your Battle Company starts in Lake Town or Erebor, I forget, and they work their way across Middle-earth, ending up in Fornos, where they have like some really gnarly fights. And he said if you don't have like a really well kitted out and designed Battle Company, it's going to be really hard. He said his was like 15 models and they were really souped up and they still almost lost. So you play like, I think it's 5 missions, but you play one and then you play like 2 or 3 regular like draw missions between with your friends to like beef your dudes up. And there will also be a mirror to that for the Evil Side, released like a couple months after as a free downloader in White Dwarf. Probably both. So that'll be really cool. Battle Companies is awesome. It'll be nice to see what they do with it to update it a little bit, I guess. I think they're going to have a lot more like equipment options for heroes and things like that. Maybe like, he didn't say this, but maybe like Warhammer Fantasy used to have like a pretty long list of things you could take. Special equipment you could take. Excuse me. let's see. Then we set up our armies for the armies on parade, or like the best painted and best display and things like that. That was really cool because in an event everyone's so busy focused on their stuff. Like I didn't even meet half the people in the event. I met who I wanted to, got to say hi and introduce myself. But while people are playing, you don't really get a chance to go look at their army and ask questions. So that was really cool. Some really beautiful ones. Alex Wright had an awesome dwarf display board. The guy who ended up winning, Andrew Curtin, I think his name was Andrew. I thought I heard someone call him Connor. Well, if you're watching this, I thought your name was Andrew. So if it is, cool. If not, I apologize. He ended up winning with Iron Hills display. It was really beautiful. There will be pictures on. There actually already has been on ASBGA on Facebook. And my favorite good and evil, we got to vote. My favorite evil was Charles Lotr. He had this really cool Easterling army, fully converted. I asked him. He showed me what everything, all the parts were for everything, and they were really. He had like some cool hoplite helms from a historical. He had these really cool black dragons. I think is what they were supposed to be. With just I don't know, they were just awesome. Really great army. Well painted, well modeled. And then my favorite good, I picked Seth Hender because he had Arnor and he had done the what did you call it? The Dead Man's Dyke or something like that, and he had like this long, narrow, it was about 14 inches wide, display with like ruins and stuff, and it had all these great, really well painted Arnor models. So I voted for him for good, and just a lot of really cool armies. There was more that I haven't mentioned, but other people have posted pictures that better than the ones I'm going to take. So I do encourage you to look those up on ASBGA. Look at all the boards. I know some of the, I think OHA, Jason posted all the boards, and Evan Woodruff maybe. Or he shared Jason's post. Nice to meet you, Evan, by the way. Then we got started with the tournament. My first match was against Andrew Curtin, which was really cool. I was playing Mordor, as I mentioned earlier in this video, I believe. And he was playing Iron Hills with Dane, two warbands with Captain and a few spears, and a handful of goat riders. I think he had 4 or 6, something like that, and a couple crossbows. And it was domination. I sat on the center objective most of the game, and it came down pretty close to the wire. We ran out of time. I think he definitely outplayed me. And it was a close game. It was 6-4 in VPs. He managed to he did a nice, well-timed heroic march towards the objective on one of my corners, and I couldn't counter. I had some warg riders or warg trackers over there, but I couldn't really do anything about it. Iron Hills are hard to kill. And then he had one guy on one and one guy on another. So he outplayed me in terms of like the mission for sure. The fight was kind of approximately even by the end of it. My troll chieftain didn't really do much. The cave drake held its own, didn't get wounded, which was nice, which helped me save some points. I did wound Dane, I believe. But a good game. Second game was against Paul Watson, who was using his friends. I think Paul's from Canada. Using his friend's absolutely filthy Hobbit army, which I've never played Hobbits before, and I learned why people play them in tournaments. They're really good. I knew not to underestimate them, so I knew it was going to be a hard game. Didn't know what kind of player he was going to be. He was a really, really pleasant guy, good opponent to play against with a cheesy army. It would be really unpleasant to play against a cheesy army and also have like a super competitive opponent who was nitpicking and stuff like that. But he was pretty cool. But it was 69 models. It was like all battling Brandy Bucks with axes. So strength 3 with piercing strike. He had, I think he had 24 bows from the Hobbits, and then he had allied in Legolas, Galadriel, and a bunch of wood elves with spears and elf bows and throwing daggers. And so as you can imagine, that was not fun to play against with my, orcs and all that kind of thing. So I actually made a really critical error. We were on a Bree board, so it had open space but large buildings, breaking up the space. He placed Fatty, and the way my army was designed to be deployed is, the 2 monsters and then the troops in the middle. So I wasn't thinking. I thought the Drake would be fine with his defense 7 against shooting. Put him just right out in the open, hoping to rush, because we deploy right on the center, but he deployed all the way against the back of the board. Basically what happened is the Drake took 4 wounds on the first turn to shooting. Elf bow was wounded on a 6, which I forgot. Thought it was a 6x4. But that's not until their strength defense 8. And then once I got into combat, he just killed it with I think Legolas killed it. It was transfixed, I believe, by Galadriel, or immobilized. So that game was really brutal. I almost got tabled. Lost 8 to 0, or 9 to nothing, or something like that. And it was wound tally. He almost tripled my score. He didn't quite triple my score. I killed 10 hobbits or something. But he was a really good, smart player. He whooped my butt. It was good though. Then the third game was against Steven Sogo on the Ravenhill board. He was playing Durham's Folk, so I thought that was fitting. And we basically just clashed in the middle. And he was kind of defending, the way the board was, it was we were facing either side of the river, and you had this frozen river going through the middle. So I jumped down in the river, ran across to him, and he was defending the lip, which is about an inch high, so kind of as a barrier. Which kind of played in his favor. I actually realized I forgot that I'm supposed to strike for in the ways when you're hitting up a slope. I thought it was different because I thought that was only if they're behind a wall, but it does apply. So Steven, if you see this, I apologize. I'm gonna send you a message. I don't think it would have made a huge difference. Most of the killing happened on the ice, and couldn't really get my Drake into a good position in that game, but he killed a lot of stuff, but it was only 1 or 2 models a turn. And then that one came out with me winning. That was Fog of War. We had to nominate an enemy hero to kill, and one of our heroes to keep alive that wasn't our general. And I nominated my Ring Wraith because the theory being I wanted to pick something of mine that I didn't have to keep in combat to be useful, which is my 2-10-1 Ring Wraith, 85 points. It's just a caster to immobilize stuff. And I wanted something of his that wasn't that hard to kill, but had to be in combat. So he had a Shield Bearer, which is a low-grade hero. So I picked the Shield Bearer. Pretty easy to kill. He's basically a weak captain. And I actually should have killed him the second turn, but I forgot that I had transfixed him, so we tied the fight, and he won on fight value. But I probably would have gotten him first turn otherwise. And then we had to nominate an objective of theirs to capture, essentially, secretly. This was all done in secret. He wrote it down on a piece of paper, put it to the side. Fun mission. And I didn't capture his, but because I had, wounded his general and killed the objective, something like that, I ended up winning by, 6 or 7 VPs to 0 or 1, I don't remember. So I got a win. So I didn't go home fully defeated. And after that, we went to dinner, went and got pretty drunk with the Irish guys. Upstairs, they had a rooftop. It wasn't actually on the rooftop, but a penthouse kind of party with a band. The band wasn't that good, so we left and went down to the hall and all hung out and talked and listened to Jen rant and rave until about 1:30, and we all then kind of faded and went to sleep. Got up the next day. We go through this part fast. I've been talking for a while. Got up the next day, scrambled to get breakfast. I was almost late to the first game because I didn't have a room key, so I had to come all the way back downstairs. And I played... who did I play? First game. Oh, I played... I thought I was going to play Luke O'Reilly, but there was a board pairing mix-up. I ended up playing Alex Kenny, who had played in doubles. And he had a Mordor army, so it was Mordor versus Mordor. He had Undying and a bunch of Blackguard and Shagrat. And he kind of whooped my butt. I took a loss on that one. Pretty uneventful game. It was just, it was Maelstrom of Battle, so it was some weird deployment. And my troll didn't come on until the 4th turn, so Undying had time to transfix the Cave Drake for a couple of turns, and then he got bogged down with one little warband that he should have chewed through in 2 turns. But it was a fun game. He's a great opponent. We got to play on the Orthanc board, which was really awesome. And then my last game was against Tom Clutchy. This was actually the chillest game I've ever played, probably. We're on Dol Amroth, so it was an open field with just a few buildings here and there. and it was weapon of the enemy, so you get to deploy up to 24 inches in the middle. And there's like a huge courtyard in the middle, so we each got to just like, he was playing Galadrim with some high elf allies, so we each got to deploy in these beautiful battle lines just as we wanted to, and we just kind of met in the middle and just like killed each other for the whole time. He ended up winning because he almost tabled me, actually, which was okay with me because it was a great army. I couldn't get my weapon through, and he had cavalry that he went and stuck on an objective, and I didn't really have a way to counter that without pulling needed troops away from my main line. So like I needed the Warg Riders to be on the line because they're not toe-to-toe against Galadrim Knights. Galadrim Knights aren't great, but they're better than a Warg tracker, on a Warg, and in combat. But it was a really fun game. I killed his general, so I killed Galadriel. On the last turn, I knew I was going to lose, but I charged Arwen anyways and tried to gaping maw her. Unfortunately, she saved the fate roll to keep her alive, but that would have been cool. I just did that for fun, But that was kind of my attitude at that point. But it was such a chill game. I was able to sit down and relax because the board was so open. I could just reach and move most of my stuff. And he was a really nice guy. He's going to try to come to some of our NC tournaments. He tried to come to Ringo South, but he got sick. But really, really, really good guy. So I ended up finishing. I wasn't last. Finished I think I was 7 or 8 up from the bottom on the standings. I don't remember. But overall, our group did well. Go watch Dan Joe and Sam's vlog. He talks about where everyone placed. But Nick Cottle got highest, either highest no magic or highest single faction. And he also won another prize. I forget what for. But overall, our team did really well. Derek played really well. He beat Jacob Hall once, which he was really proud of. And he had to play him a second time and lost in the last round. And Dan and Joe did really well. I think everyone got a win. I don't know if Sam did. I think Sam did too. Just an awesome event. Had a great time. Really want to go back next year. I'd like to go a day earlier. I didn't like getting there, like scrambling to get there on time. And so I'd like to go a day earlier and have time to like really explore some of the demo games and things like that they had. I would have liked to try out Star Wars Legion. But yeah, last thing, here's our shirts. I don't know if you guys have seen them. Carolina's Middle Earth League in red on a gray. The shirts are really dirty. I've worn it for 2 days now. And with the name of Tarambar, which is Master of Fate. That is Turin's last, well, it was his last name really, but that's what Turin went by. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the Journey vlog. I really liked meeting everyone. It was a humbling experience. I learned a lot. I got some really fun games in. Can't wait to go back next year. Please go tell Devin your appreciation if you went to the event. And we'll hopefully have some news about Carolina's event now that we're all amped up from Nova. We'll get our act together and organize something. So if we do that, try to come on down and meet us and play some games. I'm going to sign off now. I've been talking for 25 minutes. This is too long, so I'll shut up and let you guys get back to your lives. So thanks for watching Lord of the Rings SPG Team. This is Powers with Forays in Middle Earth, and I'll talk to you in the next video.